Streamfood, Talking Heads und heute wird es ein bisschen anders sein als in den vergangenen Monaten. Es ist eine Premiere heute. Wir hatten in der Vergangenheit Gäste, die international waren. Professor Dr. Tommaso Calarco, der Physiker, der war bei uns zu Gast, aber er konnte Deutsch. Es waren Leute aus Schweden hier und es waren auch Leute aus der Schweiz hier, aber es waren alles Menschen, die Deutsch sprechen konnten. Heute ist jemand anders zu Gast, auch aus dem Ausland, nämlich aus Großbritannien. Und wir werden die Musik schon mal ein bisschen anspielen. Und dieser Gast, der spricht noch kein Deutsch. Das könnte sich ändern, aber er war schon einige Male in Deutschland auf Tour.
Soft and silent, close the door, keep out the cold, say you'll stay with me this evening, as the days go dancing on, walk with me across this river, walk with me, be mine alone. It gets hard to be with you, my darling, on the dark side of the road.
Welcoming the first guest on Talking Heads International on Streamfood, Dan Raza. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Don, and thank you, Streamfood.
I mean, I was flashed. It was a recommendation made by two friends of mine here in Germany. They said they saw you and they were what's this guy? This music is just great. And they said you really have to talk to Dan Raza, and that's what we did. We phoned up a couple of weeks back, and I asked, hey Dan, would you enjoy being with us this time around? And he said yes, and so. Thank you for being here once again. And my first question is, when did you decide to become a singer-songwriter? How old were you?
Wow. How old was I, Don? I think, I first got hit by the music bug around the age of 12 years old, just before my 12th birthday, and I got a guitar for the 12th birthday. So I don't know, but for a long time I was playing like electric guitar. I wanted to be like Jimi Hendrix or Jimmy Page, or I wanted to be the sort of the cool guy on guitar because I didn't think I could sing. And then I think I got to about 15 or something, and I was listening to a lot of Bob Dylan and Neil Young, and I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to express myself with words more, and I found my voice somehow along the way, and I think that's when it took hold. So around probably the age of 15 or 16, man.
And so your first instrument was a guitar, or did you play these funny kind of flutes that kids have to play in school as well?
Well, I did pick that instrument up, yeah, but I wouldn't say I could play it. But yeah, we did. In England, we call it the recorder. I don't know what they call it in Germany. Yeah, the little funny whistles,
Blockflöte.
right?
I hated it. It was. Oh God, I got on the nerves of so many people. So you had to play that too. That's something possibly in general all over the world. Okay.
I guess it must be, yeah.
And then you got your guitar. Well, how did your parents react when you said, "Listen, could I please have a guitar, Mom and Dad?"
Wow. Well, my parents, I have to be honest, they've never been anything other than so supportive of me. So I don't know. We have an expression in England, a fad. I don't know if you know it. So I don't know if they thought it was a fad, just, like a fashion just for like a month or so, and I would grow out of it and I wouldn't continue with it. I don't know what they thought, but they supported me. Yeah. So I remember before my 12th birthday, we went to the guitar shop in the city where I lived, and they helped me pick out, or with the guitar man at the shop, and they helped me pick out this huge guitar because none of my family played music, or played instruments. So none of us really knew. So at first I bought this huge classical guitar, which, I ended up exchanging a few weeks later for an electric guitar. But getting back to your question, yeah, my parents were really supportive from the start.
Lucky, lucky
Yeah,
you. I mean,
yeah,
that's very fortunate, and thank you to your parents that they were. I mean,
yeah.
yes, cheers. So that means you started playing guitar, and then you noticed, okay, this is going to be something that I probably would like to do. I'm not going to be a policeman or join the army. Or when did you decide this could be your career for the future?
Wow. When did I first decide that? Oh, you know what? It probably was when I was at university. I first started doing my first solo concerts, like open mics, we called them. So a long night where anybody could put their name down on the list to play free songs, and I did that at university. I didn't really have any ambitions at that point. Not at least publicly. I didn't know if I was good or not. It was just something that burnt inside me. I had these songs that I'd been writing that I really just had to self express, and so I started playing them at these open mics, and the reaction from the crowd and from the promoters was incredible. And that was really the first time where I was like, wow, other people feel the same sort of fire that is inside me, and very quickly it just became like a dream that it's a hard dream for sure, and it still is a hard dream now, but it felt like something that could be real, that I could play concerts and people would listen and people would applaud, and down the line I would get money for and be able to travel with. So it was around the time of university, I think. Yeah, that was really when I first started to sing and play my own songs.
Am I getting this right that you were practicing alone all the time, that you weren't playing in some kind of school bands, and that you weren't performing as an artist? You really started just, when you began university.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was at school in my later school years, in my late teens, I was with a band. Exactly. Um, yeah, but mostly I was just playing electric guitar with the band. I wasn't singing. I was quite a good guitarist, but I wasn't anything that would have been professional. So it was only really when I went to university and I started singing that I thought, wow, maybe there's something to this that is, you know, that could get me somewhere.
Were these first songs that you played songs that you composed
Yeah.
yourself, or were oh, they were your own songs? Okay, can you remember the
Exactly.
first song that you ever composed?
Wow, the first song I ever composed. Well, I wrote lots of bad ones I've forgotten about, but yeah, I think that's kind of normal. I hope. The first, I wrote a song called End of the Line" when I was maybe 17 years old, I think, and and I remember playing it for two friends in my bedroom in my parents' house, and and the way they reacted, I remember. I'll never forget it because that was a huge boost to my self-esteem as a songwriter and as a musician. The way they reacted, they were so encouraging, and they heard something in what I did. And I remember, around that age, we used to go to parties, and we used to hang around each other's houses, and they would always encourage me to get the guitar out and play these songs, and that really helped it just become normal for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Definitely I do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
always it's a feeling of. I mean, when you write songs and the lyrics, and you write very deep lyrics, so that means someone could crush you, if they said, what are you singing? I mean, this is
Yeah.
total bullshit. It's nonsense. That could really crush, especially a young musician, young artist. But then to see the opposite happening, and the encouragement,
Oh,
it's wow. I've got shivers. So that means,
yeah.
okay, heading back in time. Now we're at the university. You played open mics. You saw the reaction of the audience, and then you're starting to think maybe I shouldn't be studying. Maybe I should be only doing music. Was that what happened?
Yeah, yeah. I did finish my studies. You know what? Yeah, I still wasn't 100% thinking, I can make a living from this, Yeah, all I knew was I was getting a good response, and I was also playing with a band at the time, and we were doing well together, playing my songs, but also there was a guitarist in the band, and he wrote songs as well for me to sing, and that was doing well. So yeah, I did have half a dream that it could happen, but it was probably when I left university and suddenly it was like, what do I do with my life now? You know, you come out of university and you're 21 and you've got this degree, but you're like, wow, you know, suddenly there's no safety net anymore. Um, and then I was doing some more open mics, and very quickly I got from one of the spots, I got seen by Joan Armour Trading's manager, and that led me to be asked to go on tour with Joan Armour Trading. And when that happened, suddenly it was like, oh, okay, this is more than just, you know, being popular in an open mic, because there's always really good people in the open mics in, you know, cities like London and Nashville and Berlin. You always see great people at open mic. So for me, I was happy to be good at open mic, but I didn't mean it would be a career for me. It was only when the Joan Armour Trading tour happened that I thought, wow, you know, now really serious people are taking interest in me, and you know, I'm playing in front of thousands of people and all over the world, in Germany and Holland, and that was
Wow.
when it felt wow to me. Yeah,
Fascinating. I mean, we'll get around to Joan Armour Trading and that period of your life in a minute.
yeah,
And you mentioned already a band that you were playing with during your university years. I think it was the Sunbirds. Is that correct?
that's
Right.
right.
Okay. Then we'll show maybe a picture of you in the year 2004, when the newspaper said, "Okay, this is going to be the first official, you know, a gig of the Sunbirds at the Wheatsheaf." Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was
Hey,
you
there you go.
in 2004, and
That was me.
we have another two newspaper clips at a bit later point in time. We'll see that as well. Best new band in beds will be at Jam in the Park,
Yeah,
and they met you and your band, the Sunbirds. I mean, and
yeah.
there's a third newspaper clip that will show that one as well. Jam in the Park, dedicated to Fan, and you were, you know, already you were the top band at that point in time, which is pretty interesting, pretty fascinating. I mean, wow. Just maybe to explain, you were born in Leighton. You were born in
Yeah,
Leighton,
it's a
Leighton.
town. Well, I was born in a place called Aylesbury, and then I grew up in this town, Leighton Buzzard. Yeah.
And that's very close to Liverpool or Manchester, as I gather.
No, no, my mother's actually from Liverpool in the north, but no, no, I'm a southerner, so not so
Okay,
far from London. Yeah, the suburbs of London. That's where it is.
okay, got that right now. And
Yeah, near. Yeah,
maybe just to show you and your band, we have two pictures from that point in time. So at this point in time, when you were playing with the Sunbirds, you weren't yet really thinking, okay, this is going to be maybe my professional life, and it was at a concert when the manager of Joan Armour Trading, and I mean, Joan Armour Trading is an amazing musician. Um, and can you explain what happened in that situation? You were, you know, having a concert, and then this guy walks up to you and says, "Hello, my name is," and what happened then?
yeah. So actually, that band that we just saw the pictures of, we'd actually split up at that time. So I just finished university. This band who were really good had split up, and suddenly I was like, "Oh my God, what do I do now? You know, I have to get a real job maybe, and this kind of thing." So I was kind of like in a time of uncertainty, and I was starting to play more concerts on my own, just me and my acoustic guitar solo. And I did this one concert, and like you say, the manager of Joan Armour Trading came up to me afterwards and said, "You know, I really like your stuff." He was a guy from America called Blair. I can't remember his second name, but his name was first name was Blair, and he said, "I really like your stuff, and I'm sure you know what this is like, Don, and I'm sure lots of creative people know what this is like. You get lots of compliments along the way, and it's always lovely, but you learn to not always." Uh, you learn to kind of not always believe everything everyone says if they tell you they can do something for you because you don't want to get your heart broken again and again, you know. So he said, you know, maybe we can do something in the future. And he told me that he managed Joan Baez and Joan Armour Trading and some other people like Natalie Merchant. And I thought, wow, well, that's really cool. He's such a nice guy, and I'm so glad he liked my music. But I didn't really think too much about it because I didn't want to be disappointed, you know. But yeah, you know, 2 or 3 months later, I got a phone call asking me, you know, would you like to come and do this tour with Joan Armour Trading? You know, we'll pay for you to come out with us, and all you have to do is, you know, take your car and, you know, join us at the concerts, and you can be the opening act, the support act. So, yeah, we started off in Holland. We did 2 nights at the Paradiso, and then we played all over Germany. My first ever times to play outside England, and it was incredible playing in front of 3,000, 4,000 people every night, all strangers. It was an incredible experience, and I just remember I had the best experience in Germany. I loved the audiences there right from that very start, and yeah, it's been good for me, Germany.
We have a couple of pictures that we'd like to show from that time. We're talking the year 2007, and we'll see you right here now, right next to a poster, Joan Armour Trading, and that's Dan Raza in the year 2007. And above it, you know, what a coincidence, Bob Dylan, I think it is, isn't it?
There you go. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that's the perfect place to be. And you were already playing at that point in time. That must be in Germany, wasn't that? That is in Germany.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is Mannheim. I can see on the poster.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we were playing the Capitol by the look of it. Capitol in Mannheim. I don't know. It was a big venue. I remember that.
Wow. And we have another picture of you on stage during this Joan Armour Trading time as an opening act. I mean, what was it like for you, you know, to step in front of a crowd? I mean, I'm sure it's scary for any musician, but, you know, the stage is huge, and then you walk on it, and what happens?
It's crazy, Don. You're right, man. I mean, I think that picture was from the Paradiso in Amsterdam, and I did 2 nights there. It was crazy, you know, because I'd gone from playing, you know, small pubs and, you know, small clubs in England to, you know, to suddenly play in these huge theatres and arenas with Joan. And it was scary. And at first I was very nervous and, you know, I couldn't open my eyes and stuff. But as it went along, I just, you know, I loved it. The audiences were so supportive to me, and, you know, they listened, they bought CDs afterwards. And for me, it was my first taste of, wow, this is what it's like to be, you know, a real musician doing this. It was wonderful, man. It was.
Did you think at that point in time, okay, you know, the first step is made, now it's the only way is up? Or you seem to be a very down-to-earth person, knowing, okay, this is good, but, you know, it might not be this way tomorrow. What kind of person are you?
Well, at that time, you know, my career did go like, you know, it was all uphill very quick. Like I say, going from one day playing pubs to the next month playing these huge theatres. And yeah, I did start to have maybe an expectation that, you know, things would be very easy for me, and, you know, things would always continue to keep rising quickly. So, but, you know, it's not like that. Sometimes the road isn't always, you know, direct and straight up. So, yeah.
Back to earth, Dan Raza, you know, had his first taste of fame at that point in time.
Yeah.
And then I'm not exactly how to, you know, I know that you were the band Dan Raza and the Shrouds. And maybe we could play a bit of that, because there you're back in the pubs and the atmosphere is great. And the good part about it is you're back with a band, so you have other people to talk to and, you know, travel with and enjoy life with, and the music. We'll just play a bit of that, and we'll talk about your time with the Shrouds, okay?
Thanks.
Off we go.
Now we go dancing to put on your shoes. The girls with the dresses and the boys with the suits. We stay on the floor, call for more, and we'll dance till the music is through. That's for sure. Rock with me, mama, boys come.
Wow, wow. I mean, this is not a professional production, obviously, and I just wanted to capture, this live feeling. It sounds great, and it's a mixture. I was always going, it's Dan obviously sings better than Bob Dylan does, and there's a bit of Bruce Springsteen and a lot of other great artists mixed, but it's still something very very Dan Raza style, which kind of fascinates me. How do you do it? How do you
Wow,
do it?
thank you, man. I listen to a lot of music, that's for sure, man, and just always, I'm not one of these people who stops listening and finding new music and thought I'm just still in love with it. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Yeah, I've got a beautiful tour manager in Germany, a lady called Goody B, who sorts all my tours out now, and every time I go to her place, I'm always picking new CDs off the shelf, saying, what's this sound like? What's this sound like? I've just never lost that curiosity and passion for music, and I think that is one secret, if you can call it a secret. I'm just still in love with it. It's still my baby, and I'm just still. I just it never stops for me being fascinating, to find new ways to express myself and new sounds and new colors. And I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I'm still in love with it. I'm still drunk on music.
I hope, and I don't think that will ever change, because if it hasn't changed up to now, it probably never will. And
Yeah,
isn't it fascinating, that the same few notes can create all this different kind of beautiful music. I mean, that's magic. That's magic. Yes.
totally agree, Don. Do you play music, Don?
Yes, I do, and I've composed music, and I've always dreamed a bit to be a pop or rock star, but I never was, even anywhere close to, where you are. So that's why, my respect is high, and very honest. And when I see, that you have, we're showing pictures of your CD. We have two pictures there. I can imagine this probably was your first CD in the store on sale.
Yeah.
What was that kind of a feeling?
Oh, it was incredible, man. Because a lot. This record store, in fact, has closed down now in England. It was the biggest one. It was called HMV, and it was a very old record shop. The most respected record shop. So for me to have my own, name, Dan Raza, and CDs in that shop, because I spent so much time in there as a kid, so much time, trying to, I had a little bit of pocket money every month or whatever, and to go in this same shop and to see my own CD in there, it was wow, it was a dream, man. It was an absolute dream. So I don't know for the younger generation if they'll totally understand that, because I know record stores are kind of, they're dying and people don't, buy CDs so much anymore. But for me, that was such an important thing to have a CD made and then to have it in a record store all over the country. Wow, that was just an honor.
That's something, a good point that you're making, because you basically grew up at the beginning of the end of the good times for
Yeah,
musicians when it came, there were records before. You probably know records still, uh,
yeah, yeah.
and but many new musicians, they don't really know what it's like to have a DVD, to have a CD anymore. It's just out on the air and being streamed, and
Yeah.
and it's just nice to have something in your hands.
Oh yeah, I completely agree, man. And like I say, growing up with that, and the anticipation of when a band would release an album, and you had to wait for that day. You couldn't go on YouTube beforehand or Spotify beforehand. You had to wait for that day for it to come into Woolworths or HMV or whatever record store. And sometimes it would be big queues, waiting for the shop to open to buy this new CD. So it was you know, for me, the album, the CD, they they're indelibly linked, associated with how I think about music and how precious it is, and how important the product is. For me, it's not disposable. It's somebody's work of art. It's their philosophy on life, how they feel. It's a really important thing.
And since I mean, in the past days, selling CDs or records was a major part of the money that musicians made. Um, and in the meantime, concerts became more and more important, so that the musicians and artists would make their money. And we have two
Yeah.
pictures of you, with a couple of tour dates here in Germany. We'll just show that. That was now a couple of years back. Dan Raza touring in Germany, live in Germany, and on the next picture that was in 2016. And I can imagine that you really love and enjoy touring. You've been in Great Britain, you've been in Germany, you've been in Holland. Would you say there's a different, the audiences are different from one country to the next?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like, I'm based in London and I play a lot of my concerts here in the UK. And I feel like there is a really good scene, there's a really good audience for music in London, but also I think maybe we take it for granted more, and sometimes it's just cool for people to go to concerts, and they just like to look cool and not really listen to the music. It's just somewhere for them to kind of hang out. While in Germany, I feel, in my experience, it's a more of a precious experience, for people to go to concerts. All of them will go there to listen, and they will really like try to understand, and that's, I'm singing in a foreign language, so I really respect that about German audiences. They go there with complete respect for the integrity of the musician and, the art and the craft. And I'm not saying that isn't the case in England, but, in some cities like London, you do find, I think it's the same all over the world, maybe in some big cities, people just go there just to kind of hang out and look. But anyway, when I go to Germany, it is beautiful because people really seem to like make the effort to connect with the music, and it's beautiful, man. When people come up to you afterwards and buy CDs and they tell you about what they liked about this song and that song, and I'm always stunned that people will do that. When I'm singing in a different language.
The last time you were also in Germany, I think that was also in 2020, beginning of this year. Could that
No,
be?
I played. I played. What, man? I played last month. I played. I managed to tour during this pandemic. Yeah.
Wow, this is
I
crazy
know.
because I found a clip, from the 13th of January 2020 when you played piano basically for the first time on
Oh
stage,
yeah.
and I just
Yeah.
wanted
Yeah.
to listen in just for a bit, and then we'll talk about that for a moment, and what COVID-19 and Corona has done to our business,
Yeah.
but that we'll do after we've listened in to the clip.
Yes, we're there. Okay, this will be very interesting, okay? Okay, so I tried this song, and then we finished the concert. Thank you again, everybody, for coming out. This is a Thursday night in East Germany. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean.
So you did manage to tour. I mean, okay, this was in January 2020,
Yeah.
and so we knew that something was coming. We didn't know how bad it was going to get with Corona and COVID-19. When did you realize we're heading for a pandemic?
Wow, man. I, so Italy went crazy, didn't it? I think around late February, early March. Um, I think it was probably like I remember it was St. Patrick's Night. I don't know if you celebrate that in Germany, but St. Patrick's Night in England is the 17th of March. And I was due to go and watch a concert that night, a guy called David Keenan, and that concert was cancelled, and it was already because of COVID, and it was already kind of, people were talking about lockdowns and stuff like that. So it was probably, yeah, that date, 17th of March. That's when I realised, wow, something, something really unprecedented in my lifetime and in my parents' lifetime is about to happen. Yeah, I think there was in England. I think there was a lot of denial about it up, until early March. I think the government were hoping maybe it would go away or something. But yeah, yeah, around that time, 17th of March, that's when everybody realised this is serious.
So I don't know what it was like in Great Britain. Well, I know what the numbers were horrible. I mean, March,
Yeah.
April, May must have been very traumatic, and things are getting worse now with the second wave, sweeping all
Yeah.
over Europe. But at that point in time, with March 17th, around that time,
Yeah.
did you realize that that you might not be making any money with your concerts anymore? That the lockdown. Yeah, I mean, here in Germany, people were also in a kind of denial, saying, "Okay, this is gonna. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but it's gonna work out." But now, live musicians and live artists are saying they're not taking care of us. The government is, they don't see the needs, and we're important. But they don't see that. I don't know what it's like in Great Britain. How does Boris Johnson go? Is he doing good? Is he doing a good job?
um, no, in my opinion, I have to be honest. No, no, I am worried. I am worried. I'm worried about his response to the pandemic. I think, I don't want to upset anybody here, but I think the government haven't done so well with the pandemic, and then we also, again, probably best not to talk too much politics, but with Brexit also about to happen, it's a very difficult time for performers and everybody really. But being selfish and thinking from my own position, for performers who want to go and travel and play abroad, and other performers to come to the UK, it's going to be very difficult. Not only because of COVID, because it's affecting people's livelihoods to play music, and also the venues are struggling to stay open, but also Brexit's going to make it very difficult for people to play music outside the country and to come into the UK. So yeah, it's a difficult time. I wish it wasn't happening like it is, to be honest.
I can imagine that. I mean, your performer friends, other artists that know, what is their perspective? How are they saying, okay, thinking the next 12 months, what's going to happen to our lives? What are they thinking right now?
Oh man, that's such a good question, Don. I think everybody's just saying let's wait and see, because with COVID, there's all the talk about the vaccine, isn't there? And I think some people still hope that will be the answer to all the problems. But we also know now that some scientists are saying, it might not be the answer. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just wait and see, I think, for a lot of people. And like I say, with Brexit also, so for somebody like myself who likes to play, tour in Germany and other countries, suddenly that might become much more difficult, because before now, we didn't have to pay for expensive visas. And suddenly when we do have to pay for visas, you know, the agents in Germany and the venues, they might not want to book an artist from the UK because it's too expensive. So I just think we have to wait and see. There's so much uncertainty, and I hate it because, as you know, it's my career, and it's horrible. It is horrible, but what do you do? What do you do? It is just what it is.
Pour it into a couple of great songs. You have the talent to write great songs, and I can imagine. I'm. I don't want to talk about the bad stuff anymore, because you did manage to make it to Germany and tour a bit. How did you?
Yeah.
Weren't you afraid? I mean, I would have been scared shitless.
Yeah.
Traveling all over the place, not only one place, but all over the place. But so what was the feeling like? COVID is all around me, but now I'm going on tour. Great.
It was crazy, man. I was expecting it to be cancelled. I was up until the last week. I was thinking, this tour is not going to happen, but it did happen. I think some venues did cancel, but the majority, they said let's do this still, and we did it with COVID. What do you call it? Regulations. So we had to make some special efforts with restricting the audience size and things like this. But it happened, and it was a success. It was straight. It was so surreal because sometimes everything felt so normal, and it was easy to forget there was a pandemic happening. I was playing the concerts, and the concerts were fantastic. I absolutely loved this last tour. But then, you'd get off stage and everyone would, be walking around with their masks, and it was, an immediate reminder that this isn't a normal situation. So yeah, it was surreal. It was surreal, but I'm so glad I did it, and it was great for me to be able to play music again regularly and connect with an audience. It was beautiful. And from what I heard from the audience, they felt the same. It was nice for them to kind of break up to get out their houses and see live music and connect with each other and with the music. And I think it's such a special thing, like the community around music. Obviously, I think live music and songs are really important, without a doubt. For me, that's the most important thing. But the community around music, people meeting each other and vibrating on the same energy level to a performance, that's really special. It's something you can't get from staying at home and listening to a record, as good as that is. So it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. I'm so glad we could do it.
I think this is going to carry you over the winter, these tough months coming up, and I can imagine that maybe this you probably are working on a new album or on new songs. I can imagine. What are you working on right now?
Yeah, man. So this year I was meant to record 2 albums. Actually, I was meant to record an album in London in April, and I was meant to record an album in North Carolina in the USA in July. And both those albums had to be cancelled because of COVID and the restrictions on traveling and leaving your home. So yeah, I have all these songs, and the plan is to begin recording again in January in London. So I feel really good about this new album. I think it's going to be really good, and I hope it's going to be ready springtime to 2021. I hope.
Oh, so do I. And Dan, I think we'd be delighted. No, I know we'd be delighted if you keep us posted, because we want to stay in touch with the artists, our friends, these special people that we introduce on Streamfood Talking Heads, and so. If you say yes, then we're open, to see you next year with your new album. Maybe there's going to be a tour. Then we'd be grateful to also make that announcement. And I would like to thank you for being on the show today. I hope you enjoyed
Don,
it.
I absolutely loved it. Thank you so much, man. To be your first English-speaking guest on the show. It's an absolute honor, and I just want to say thank you to you and your team, all the research you've done and all the great questions, man. It's been an absolute delight for me, so thank you so much. And to your audience, thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you at a concert in the future.
So do we. Dan Raza, first Talking Heads international guest on Streamfood, and we have one song left. We'll play this song. It's a bit older. It's called Midnight and the Wine, and we'll play that. And I just love this song, and I think our audience will love it too. Dan Raza, see you next year. Stay healthy, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Don.
It's midnight and the wine is not working. So she buys one more to pass the time, and sways to the slow, sad steps of a stranger, and waits for the stars to return to the sky. Crying eyes, crying eyes, crying sword curled up in her pocket, and her fingers trace the creases on the spine. There's no shame in following your instinct. She can leave it any old time. Crying eyes, crying eyes, crying eyes. No surprise. Crying eyes, crying eyes. No surprise. It's midnight and the wine is not worth